We all know it. It's the first thing we ever learn. There are fears we can work around. Fear of the dark. Fear of things that bite. Fear of lightning. And then there are the fears that consume us. Fear of judgment. Fear of rejection. Fear of failure. I used to think that if I could just eliminate these fears and pack them away somewhere, then I'd be happy. Then they couldn't hurt me. Then people couldn't hurt me. So I packed it all away. And I wasn't afraid. Because I convinced myself that I didn't care about anyone else or what they thought. But I still hurt. And it took a while, but eventually I learned something. It's not our fears that define us, but how we handle them. By locking my fears away, I locked myself away. I finally learned how to embrace my fears. Almost. Use them. I take the power of that lip-locking, knee-shaking demon and turn it on its head. I sing, I dance, I smile. So yeah, the future is scary. Each of us will be in a new place, with new people, new goals, new expectations. But so will thousands like us. So go ahead, be afraid. We've all earned it. It's a big, scary world out there, but I know we'll all be just fine.
The zone. Although so many people seem to fall into this mysterious state of being quite often, it is a concept that was hard to grasp for me. As a common sports commercial depicted, once one gets in the zone, he suddenly hears nothing but his heart beating, as everything around him starts to slow down. Then some magical powers kick in, allowing him to dribble past 10 players and score a goal. When he finally realizes what he had done, he basks in the roaring cheer of thousands worshiping him as a god. Obviously, this has never happened to me. Except for during the occasional math problem that proves all challenges that I get so into. So, when Mr. Russman told me to get in the zone during a soccer practice last fall, it was a very simple, yet near impossible task for me to carry out. This is in large part due to my constant need to analyze things. My friends often jokingly say to me, "Hey Harry, why don't you calculate the equation of the trajectory when you kick the ball?" Obviously poking fun at how I'm Asian and take multivariable calculus. We laugh at how ridiculous the joke is, but actually, it's not all that ridiculous. Whenever I screw up a kick in soccer, I question my mechanics. Did I swing the foot in the wrong way? Did I position my planted wrong? Every part of my life is governed in a similar way by my overwhelming thoughts. Just do it, as the famous Nike slogan would tell me, but I am much too prone to just thinking. So when Mr. Stern told me that, often the people that are very strong in their heads are bad actors, I knew exactly what he was talking about. Even in acting, all I did was think, when Mr. Stern commanded do. I guess the central goal pursued by the hockey boys and the flickies is not so different after all. As the theater virgin, as some refer to me, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing on stage at the beginnings of Sweden Talk. Diction! Know what you're saying. Don't indicate. Run it again. My sister hurled harsh words of criticism, each scene, not letting my guts, per se, take me over. This inability would result in constant awkwardness on stage, followed by screams of frustration and juvenile giggling. Perhaps in a final attempt to get me acting, Mr. Stern moved on to a hostile scene involving Isaac and me. He got Isaac to push me around and mock me, claiming me as an inferior barber. Although I personally didn't take much offense at being a worse barber than Isaac was, the physical content and the tone of his voice sparked me into an emotional catharsis. I blushed and felt blood rush to my face as if I were really angry. I felt real reactions, not just imitated ones, to the words and action Isaac gave to me. For that one moment at least, I had it. I wasn't motivated by the fact that I was supposed to show anybody anything, but rather felt my true emotions come out, and focused on the interaction from one actor to another. No, I was not dribbling past 10 people to score a goal, but I was in the zone. As with all learning experiences, this one moment was not sufficient to make me into the next Oscar recipient. Yet it finally got me to understand a totally different part of life I had refused to accept. One that was led not by my guts, not by my head, but by my guts. I was such a firm believer of the world governed by logic and rationalization of all life occurrences. Contrary to this belief, there was so much more than the completely logical world that I had envisioned. At times, I really needed the emotions and the illogical parts of myself. So, what am I getting here that is relevant to the class of 2011? I guess this was a long-winded thank you, not only to Mr. Stern for teaching me, but also to KUA for allowing me to experience this personal growth. I imagine all of us about to leave the hilltop tomorrow have shared an experience similar to mine, although varying in shape. The diversity of my experiences at KUA has resulted in a tremendous introspection on my part, and I have discovered so much about myself that I otherwise would not have. Last year, when I attended the Phillips Exeter graduation, the senior class president gave a departing speech. He said that the one thing that he would miss most would be the opportunity to sit at any lunch table and talk about Moby Dick. Although I also tear up at that similar prospect. I think that I would miss most the support and the constant push to get outside of my comfort zone, to challenge my limits, and dive into something completely foreign to me. Such personal experiences, instead of the strictly intellectual ones, are what allow me to learn more about myself as a person. I believe that such an environment is only possible with the effort of everyone on campus, and would like to depart by expressing my deep gratitude for the limitless opportunity